Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Cal Royal number EXT FB1 US26. This is a flush bolt is what it is. This is what they call an extension flush bolt. Okay, the bolt head is extended from the body, okay, by means of a rod. This is a very typical and common flush bolt that you will see for use in a wood door, a residential application really, is where you will see this. The FB-1 is available in different finishes from Cal Royal, and this being polished chrome is very typical. I imagine the base material of the face on this, of the sort of the exposed portion, is zinc. Zinc is dense, it's heavy in the hand, it's inexpensive, and it affords a nice finish. That's a pretty good polished chrome for the sense of, or for the fact that it's just a piece of residential builder's hardware. Okay, so it will certainly look very nice, definitely at a distance. And what this is going to include, of course, is its extension rod. And they say that this is an 18-inch extension rod. And all you'll do, of course, is thread that into the unit. And that's where, with this lever, is how you will throw that, okay, up and down. With this, you will also get a strike that is so thin that you're probably going to surface mount it, although you'll probably see attempts at mortising that as well. I would certainly want to mortise it myself. And then you will also get a package of screws. You'll notice that there are two that are long and two that are short, and the short ones, of course, are for the strike. The long ones are super long because they have to go through the body itself. So if you're purchasing this, and this, whenever we sell these, they're going to a residential application, someone who's replacing a piece of hardware that's likely been broken. You know, you'll have a problem on an inactive door. Well, somebody pulls on it too hard or falls into the door or unintentionally damages it, or maybe intentionally damages it, whatever the case might be. But it does happen. You know, a piece of equipment like this is going to potentially break or maybe never break. It's just people either... Well, two reasons people replace these. They don't like their old color. They may have antique brass and it's not 1977 anymore, although that's a bit extreme. It may not be polished brass. It's no longer the 1980s. Or you're replacing it because of damage. Generally, finish is what I find pretty common, though. It's not unusual for people to replace stuff for that. So if you're just replacing your item, if your bolt is not damaged, I would probably leave it in place. But if something's damaged, it's possibly the bolt, but it could also be the door as well. So you have to be mindful. That bolt had threads on there, so you have a small amount of play, but the problem is going to be you're going to want to get that bolt tightened down so it doesn't go any further, because it will rotate with time. They tend to loosen and come up a bit. So you don't want that, you know, causing the initial problem of your door working correctly. Now, they say it's an 18-inch extension rod. When I measure this rod, it's 16 7/8. 16 7/8 when it's at its minimum. When I thread this into the body, if I just go maybe 5 revolutions, down to the bottom, it's going to be about 25 1/2. You know, to the top of the prep, it's going to be about 18 1/8. The overall height of the faceplate, about 7 3/4, I think. Maybe a little bit less. Let's pull this out. They say it's 7 7/16 overall height on the faceplate. Yeah, it looks about right. Overall width, they've got 3/4 inch, sure. Overall thickness of the unit, looks like it's about 5/8 of an inch. If you're doing a new installation, I would see no problem at all simply using a plunge router. You're going to plunge down the width of the face, which is 3/4 inch. You'll use a 3/4 inch, my opinion. Use a 3/4 inch 2-flute carbide. Plunge router in, up, deeper, back, until you go the depth of the unit. Obviously, drilling from the top or bottom of the door, that's a different game. I don't know that you'd want to attempt that in the field if you've never done it, because the back side of this bolt is, 3/8, and let's say you're going to drill a 3/8 hole, you're going to be awfully close to the face of this door. So I'm thinking that you're not going to try to retrofit this in the field, and the reason is because the back set to the edge of the door to the center of the bolt, in this case we're using the term back set, is just too awfully close. Okay. The diameter of the bolt head, generally rods like this are 1/4 I don't have any reason to believe that it's not. I haven't checked it, however. The diameter of the bolt head is 0.312, so 5/16. The diameter of the rod is 0.205. So don't know what that is. Could be. The outside diameter of the threads are 0.239. It's a bit small for 1/4, but it probably is, being a standard. That strike, about 1.5 inches by about 5/8. So, about the installation, if you're just retrofitting, changing, those 2 screws will need to be removed. Your rod will need to be unthreaded, and hopefully that you're able to get that unthreaded from the door, because as we unthread this, that top bolt's going to come loose itself. In fact, if it was me, once I had everything threaded together to the proper length for the top, most likely the top of the door, I would use thread lock on this so that it couldn't turn with time. And I would use thread lock here as well, because it will. Whether it be a decorative tip on a hinge or it be a bolt head on a flush bolt, these items tend to move with time, and you don't want them to move. And now you're wondering why the door, when you throw the latch down and the door still sticks a little bit, that leads to continuing using the door in that compromised way, leads to damage, leads to frustration, leads to it breaking or something breaking. Maintenance, like anything else, flush bolts are a part of that. Now, the other finishes that this is available in, we can take a look at. Let's switch to the screen view where we can take a look at this item and the other finishes. Okay, so this is the item here that we're looking at. And this Cal Royal FB-1, you can take that and copy it, paste it up here, and then search. Okay, we're going to see it's available in 10B, which is an oil rub bronze finish. US15 is satin nickel. US15A is an antique nickel. That finish is hanging on. US26 is polished chrome. US26D satin chrome. US3 polished brass. US5 antique brass. So a pretty decent offering of finishes here, other than black, which is the new fancy trend color, which is a great classic finish for hardware. Your basics are covered. Satin bronze, satin brass aren't included, but those are pretty unusual, especially nowadays. So here's our item. We've gone over the extended description. We've talked about it dimensionally. We've talked about installing it. If you're installing this into a door and you're going to be prepping it, you probably don't need much assistance or guidance, but if you do, feel free to reach out. I've mortised for hardware like this countless times in the past, and we'd be happy to weigh in. The link as seen here is the link to the manufacturer's page, where you can pull up not only all of the Cal Royal products that we sell, but you can also take a look at a link to the manufacturer's website here, and then a link to their full product catalog here. A copy of A117.1 is here, which is the federal guidelines for usable and accessible public spaces. Why would that apply to Cal Royal? Well, they sell weather stripping, thresholds, and thresholds are they may sell grab bars as well. Exit device, well, so many things are governed by, everything is governed by code, but when it comes to what Cal Royal does, the thresholds is why I have it added here. A very helpful document if you are wondering what's the maximum height of a threshold, or what's the slope of a threshold, or where do I install grab bars. That would be the governing document there. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, in conclusion, a reasonable quality piece of equipment. Nothing too special about it. Going to be ubiquitous in residential applications. Why an 18-inch? You probably have an 8-foot door, maybe a little bit taller. You wouldn't use an 18-inch or a 24-inch or anything beyond 12-inch really on 6/8 doors in residential applications, but 8 foot is incredibly common, and you're going to need a longer flush bolt because you don't want to use a step stool to, open up the inactive door. The name Cal Royal is synonymous with a quite comprehensive offering of good quality, good value, imported builders, hardware, commercial and residential from Asia. They are diversified, not just one country. They're probably 3 or 4, if not more. I'm not fully aware of what it is, but what I am aware of is their catalog 25 years ago wouldn't have been 1 inch thick. Well, now it's quite the binder. So they have been continually evolving and progressing and adding on to their product offering over the years. Any questions on the Cal Royal EXT FB-1 US26 residential style flush bolt or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.